We're going to preview real quick, well, maybe not real quick, The Division. Let me plop this out. So, The Division is an interesting game from my perspective because I was always vaguely interested in it because it's a big game, whatever, it's got RPG elements as a shooter. It looks very interesting, right? That's when it was announced 16 years ago. Then we get to 16 years to now, and I haven't really been paying attention. Maybe I should pay attention. So I started paying attention a little bit, and they're going to do open beta. Okay, now I'll pay attention. That was a circular discussion. To no one, yeah, that I shouldn't even mention that person, who is now banned. So there's a lot of problems with the Division, though, and this is why I wasn't paying attention to it, because they were never really talking about it in the way I wanted them to talk about it. They were talking about it, oh, it's a co-op and you can do all this stuff with your friends. And I'm sitting here going, I want to do this by myself. And when you design a game, I don't necessarily mind co-op or whatever, but when you design a game with multiplayer in mind, you design it differently, and that's obvious. And this is my first and only going into the Dark Zone. The key problem is, okay, so there's nothing to explore. You're wandering around and there's nothing really to find, nothing really to do. You'll find buildings that are pretty generic looking. They remind me actually of Dead Rising. The stores you would go into Dead Rising. That's what they kind of look like to me. You'll find a couple of them that actually you can go into, and there's stuff to collect. Why am I collecting stuff? Points for something. I think they were to build out your base, wings to your base. So you can go there and find 3 things in a room, and then you leave. There's no one to shoot, except when you randomly find people to shoot. There's more pedestrians walking around, which is very strange to me. And then you'll get to these points where it's so clearly made with multiplayer in mind. Like, oh, here's a quest. Okay, I'll start this quest. The quest is to stand here and defeat 3 waves of enemies, or for hold out for a minute or 2. And like, that's not very interesting. And then that was the whole quest. That was it. Like, that was your quest. It was very basic and weird, and everything just feels weird. It doesn't feel like a single player game, even though I played a lot of it as a solo moron. It doesn't feel right. It does not feel like a single player game. There's nothing to see, nothing to explore. The combat, we'll get to good stuff. The combat is fun. I do like it. I do like the skills. It's kind of what I wanted to see from Borderlands, where Borderlands has the one skill your class gets. I feel that is very limited. This has 3 different tiers and different skills, and you can have 2 equipped at any time, which is good. I would prefer more, but it's probably balanced for 2. That's fine. At least there's more skills possible. Then you can alter the skills with perks, or there's also perks, and then you can alter things. The perks weren't in the beta, but you can see you could alter the skills. I mean, it was interesting. So here's the thing: it's all interesting ideas. Hey, Silence. It's all interesting ideas, but it felt so lifeless as I was playing it by myself. Playing with another person would be a lot of fun, and going into the Dark Zone was fun. I will say that, but I'll get back to the Dark Zone, because another thing, they had the reveal trailer, and they had that moment where the guy shuts the door, and for some reason, and that's a cool moment. Don't get me wrong, but for some reason, everyone looked at that and said, everyone at Ubisoft looked at that and said, oh, now all the doors on the streets of New York have to be open. And you'll be walking around the street. Now, you can't really see it in the Dark Zone, but you'll be walking around the street, and every single car will have like 6 doors open. Like, what the fuck happened here in this apocalypse where everyone left their car with all their doors slightly ajar, just so someone, years later, can walk by and shut them? It doesn't make any sense. And it's stupid, and you don't even shut them as cool as you do in that video they showed. Also in that video they showed 16 years ago, the game looked a lot better. Now, obviously, that's how you make a vertical slice, whatever. I played this game on PC, And I don't know if the settings weren't working correctly, but maxed out on PC, it's not that great. It actually looks better in footage when you're not playing than and it looks better at night too. It just doesn't. It doesn't look right. You know what it looks like? It looks like a fucking MMO, and I don't want an MMO. I don't want that. As cool as it is to run around all these things and not know who's on your side and all that, that's really interesting. That is fun. I did enjoy that, and I could see the hook there of it being a lot of fun. I don't understand, though, if you're going to section off entire sections of the city and make them multiplayer only, essentially. And so now, this big area of Manhattan is off limits to me if I don't want to play with other people. Because it is kind of horrifying when there's just rogue people running around. And when you first get in there, you're super underpowered. And I didn't notice anyone cheating, which is good. And the Dark Zone is really cool. That's the thing. There's multiple points you can go out, and you're calling in helicopters and you have to wait, and there's AI in addition to people that can go rogue. It's fun. It's really a super cool idea of having kind of just a perpetual multiplayer match with objectives you're controlling, you know, like defend this area. Well, I choose when to call the helicopter, and you know, I get to choose the objective. That's really cool and interesting. But I'm not into that, and the single player is where, like, this is not a Fallout, even though I don't think Fallout's that amazing in terms of that, but this is not a single player RPG. This is not a Witcher. This is not anything even close to that. This is, you would be playing an MMO offline, which can be fine, but it felt too much like it. Every single mission, I played all the story missions you could. There were 3, maybe? At least 2. And they were fine, and at least they took you to interesting areas, like one's in a stadium. But there were, and this is a weird thing to say, there were too few enemies the entire time to shoot. There's like no one. This is supposed to be a war zone. It's really just the Dark Zone that's the war zone. And even that doesn't, you can walk around for minutes with no one showing up. You'd be in these missions, and you'd get to an area, like, okay, this is the encounter for this area. And like 10 guys would show up. And it felt so ineffective and uninteresting because you just take them out pretty quickly and then you move on. And the shooting is close to Gears of War, but is not Gears of War. Gears of War is my benchmark of third-person shooters I like. It's not there. It's not there at all. It's close. It kind of feels janky to me. I mean, the inventory, I'm jumping around all over the place, but sure. The loot drops are frequent enough. That's appropriate. That's good. When you get new stuff, it's kind of confusing as to what it does. There's three tiers, right? So there's like health, DPS, and technical, which was your skills. But all the items also boost your defense. But the screen for equipping all the items doesn't show your current defense and if this item would make it go up or down. So you technically would have to go into your stats and find out if it would actually be beneficial for you, which is kind of the opposite of the way I'd like this. And it felt so... There's a lot of really cool ideas in this, and I do understand that some people will love it. Just love it to death, but it's not for me, and it's why I'm glad they did an open beta, so I could play it and be like, yeah, I didn't actually want this. Because while it is fun to play, and there are good moments in it, it's way too, like, look, this guy just starts killing me, and yeah. Oh, he had the turret too, that's why he killed me so fast. Because I don't know how to play video games. Traitors, see, I don't like that, too scary. But, I don't know, the whole time I was playing it, I played it for about 6 hours, the whole time I was playing it, I didn't feel good about it. It just... Watch a loading screen for a second. It was missing. It felt very empty. That's exactly what it is. It felt like an empty MMO when you're playing a single player. That's how it felt. There were a couple there's a couple random missions. They're not really like story missions. They're just things you can do. And you'll find them on the map and you go and you do them. And this is ironic because the game likes to have this thing constantly. If you look at it, you can see it at the middle, with the yellow little arrow, constantly telling you where you need to go. to an obnoxious degree. It is constantly saying, hey, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. I was playing this mission, and then it didn't tell me, and then I had no idea where to go. I had to go up this ladder, which was completely out of the way from where I thought I would have to go. And I spent like 5-10 minutes trying to figure out where this stupid ladder was. And it just didn't feel right. There was no indication I should go there. There was, even that, there's no indication when you're wandering around the street where anything interesting would be. It's completely just, it's just window dressing. None of it has any consequence. You're running and doing nothing for a lot of it. When you actually do get into firefights, it is fun. It is a lot of fun. But it just felt so empty. So very empty. And I don't get it. I don't get it. I get the hooks of the Dark Zone. The Dark Zone was maybe my favorite part, but not something I would want to do. It just doesn't feel right to me. And that's it. It's just not right. There you go. You see the health, skill, power, DPS. I was right. Electronics, not technology. Electronics. I also didn't help. I wasn't playing with a mic on PC, so everyone has like a push to talk because they're cool people, and I'm like, I don't talk. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to make this is like the shortest show of all time, but it's just not. I think I had as much fun kicking all these cones. It's not that exciting. I don't really get it. Look at this. Look how far I have to run for anything. I'm like, what is even happening here? There's this big old area. There's no one here. There's no one here. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. That's loot. Clearly marked like any good RPG should, but that's a bad guy. I was scared of him, so I kind of ran over here. And he didn't see me, so I ran away. But it's not a single player. That's what I'd say. If you're going to go into this and play single player, I hope you played the beta and enjoyed it, because otherwise you might be very disappointed and very confused as to what it is. Because it is not set up very well for a single player, or at least in the beta. But I mean, this is your test, and after 6 hours, you can pretty well tell like, that's another door that's open for no fucking reason. At least that door has a reason to be open. Ridiculous. And that's it. No one's watching the show, as my vaguely homophobic commenter said. No one's watching the show, but I do the show anyway. I know no one watches it. I don't care. Merry Christmas. I do the show every Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, right here on Twitch. Usually it's longer. This is the shortest show. I'm gonna ramble. Let's talk about Pokemon. I think about you, Pikachu. I died again. The Dark Zone, difficult. Much more difficult than the main game. The main game's pretty even keel. It's not, I think I died a couple times, maybe. There was one encounter. That's the other thing, too. Every enemy is just a dude. It's just the dude with a gun. Not that exciting. Some of them, well, if they aren't guys with guns, they're guys with shields that just run at you with axes. And they do this really stupid thing where they just hit you with an axe, and then they just kind of back up. And they wait a couple seconds, and then they try to hit you again. And they're not fun to fight, and they don't make any sense. And yeah, in that way, it definitely feels like it's balanced totally for multiplayer. As evidenced by the big arenas. You're always in a big arena. Even when it's a subway, it's not that small of an alleyway. It's a kind of there's more going on. There's little doors and stuff. And the boss enemy guy, what was it? Oh, that's the cool thing. People have, for some reason, they have like oxygen tanks, and you can shoot them and they blow up. That's pretty cool. I like that. I like people blowing up. I can get down with that. The boss guy had like 3 tanks on him because I guess that's what you do. I don't know why you would need that many. I don't know. So you could breathe longer because you're the boss. So that was fun. You got to shoot him a couple times, blow him up several times. That was good. But I think it's time to put this down. I liked my intro to this show. Shortest show ever. Maybe I'll hang out for a minute. I'm gonna ban the guy. That's what I'm gonna do. Show's up.